The call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Whew. Welcome in to the Pod at the Palace post-game live reaction show presented by SARACEN, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis here with you on this snowy Saturday in Fayetteville to break down Arkansas's 85-81 win. Yes, they won over LSU. Man, oh man. Arkansas stole one here today, folks, and that's just fine by me. The Razorbacks did not play particularly well for large portions of this game. Credit to LSU, man. They came and really took the fight to the Hogs. They were super physical. They put a lot of rim pressure on Arkansas with their big men, their rebounding. Arkansas really struggled to get stops late when they could have put it away, but hey, it was a wild finish. You got a career night from Darius Acuff, who went 13 of 19 from the field and finished with, and we called it this morning, 31 points in this basketball game. But then he misses 3 or 4 free throws in the final minute. Crazy. Trevin Brazile, you didn't get much of anything out of him the entire game. He hits a huge 3 for Arkansas in the final minute. We'll break it all down, but here's what I'll say. This is one of those where we should start by thanking the Razorback fans for showing up and showing out. Arkansas needed it. This was a Bud Walton Arena dub for the Razorbacks today. You get some of those every year. This was one of them. They protected the Palace. Hogs go to 15-5 on the season. They're 5-2 in SEC play. I'm going to exhale for a second. And Andrew, give your initial thoughts on a wild one here in Fayetteville.
You know, in football season, you remember Arkansas loses 10 straight games there, and pretty much every week we would do the post-game show and we'd say, well, if you point at this one thing and you flip it, you know, whether it's the turnover battle or that one drive in the third quarter or, oh, this one change of possession here, if you change that, Arkansas could have won. And we kind of go crazy trying to look at these different things. You could do the opposite end of that right now if you're LSU, where you say, man, if LSU could just knock down a three-point shot, Arkansas would have probably lost today. If Arkansas had just played a good team in Bud Walton Arena today, they probably would have lost. Man, if Acuff didn't go ballistic in the second half, Arkansas probably would have lost. And all of those things are true, and they're all valid. And I'm sure there's a lot of Razorback fans who are kind of annoyed by this performance. All I feel in this moment right now, though, is I'm just grateful that we live in the timeline we do, where Arkansas didn't suffer a heartbreaking loss in front of their home crowd at Bud Walton Arena, which, to your point, was awesome. I mean, I really didn't think we were going to get a crowd that could will you to victory and really change the momentum in the game. But I felt like the crowd really had a huge hand in the second half. And man, it was very full in that lower bowl. You and I had some great seats, by the way. And it was a very frustrating afternoon at Bud Walton. But ultimately, I'm not going to be the guy that is spending my Saturday night crying about wins, as bad as it looked. And by the way, it did look bad.
Yeah, it definitely did. It kind of felt like LSU showed up ready to start a fight, and Arkansas really didn't want anything to do with it. I was impressed with LSU's physicality in there, man. They really took it to the Hogs, and this is the thing with this LSU team. When they've looked their best this season, there are times where they've looked really good. They do it by just getting downhill, putting a ton of pressure on the rim. They're heavy on the glass. They score a bunch in the paint. And that's kind of exactly what they did in this one. Arkansas didn't want anything to do with it. Not a great day for the front court Razorbacks. Not a great day for Arkansas's guards defending the dribble drive. LSU really lived in the paint. Kind of went back to some bad habits after, as well as they played defensively in that Vanderbilt game. So obviously stuff that they need to clean up there. But it was a little bit dicey there at one point in the second half. There was only one stretch where I was kind of looking at it going, they're not really going to fool around and lose this game, are they? And then they picked it up. They made their run. And to your point, man, I thought the crowd was awesome in that one. Kind of willed them over the top there. And then Acuff got on that heater, which was crazy down the stretch. But it was like, I think Arkansas made either 9 or 10 shots in a row, and you looked up and they were only up by 4 because they just could not get a stop in this game. But you just felt like when they needed to get the bucket, they would, even if it meant missing 3 out of 4 free throws just to get the lead up to 4. And that's what they wound up doing. They sneak out of there with a dub, and we'll take it. But certainly one where people are scratching their head a little bit afterwards. And like I said, just exhale for a moment. They got it done.
Yeah, it's crazy how many of LSU's buckets were just simply isolation, one-on-one, their guards breaking Arkansas's guys down and getting into the paint and facing no resistance there. And you kind of wondered, man, they're not really making a ton of threes. They wound up finishing with, I think, 22 free throws or whatever. But you're kind of like, man, is this really a sustainable style? And then sure enough, they have 81 points in this game. Like, Arkansas really needed to score to win this game, and they had 33 points at half. There wasn't really much flow offensively. I believe Arkansas had maybe 6 or 7 assists at halftime. Almost all of them were coming off of offensive rebounds where Carter Knoxford and Malik Thomas would just find someone and they'd knock down a shot. I think DJ had 2 threes, which really kept Arkansas in the game in that first half. You made a prediction, and I also made a prediction at halftime. You said Arkansas's freshmen are just going to have to go out there and play. And Malik Thomas had foul trouble. I thought Malik Thomas actually played really good basketball on the offensive side of the ball while he was out there, but just the foul trouble wasn't able to get really much of a rhythm there. Acuff, I thought the first half was maybe his worst half of SEC play. I was really not a fan of his shot selection. He only had 1 assist. He was getting cooked on defense, and I was like, man, I really don't like what I'm seeing here. Both of those guys, I mean, more so Acuff, obviously, turned it on in the second half, and my prediction was I felt like Arkansas just needed to have another spurt, a little 8-0, 10-0 run, which clearly the crowd helped, and if they could get control of this game, I mean, you're down 4 at half, as bad as it was, you felt like they were one spurt away from taking control. That's pretty much all it took, because they never really got firm 7-8 minutes in a row of actually good basketball, but they were able to live off of the couple spurts that they had.
Yeah, they certainly were. And this is funny because I remember on the pregame show this morning, kind of breaking it all down. And if you looked at LSU splits between non-conference and conference play, there was such a drastic difference. And you could look at it from one of two standpoints. It's either, okay, they beat up on they had a poor non-conference strength of schedule. They start playing some real competition and there's a big drop off there. But the end of non-conference play also coincided with Dayton Thomas going down with that injury, and he just got back for him. So it was like, it's one or the other. Either they're just not an SEC level team, or they were really missing their best player. I think it's closer to them really missing their best player. That looked like an LSU team, and make no mistake, Arkansas did not play well in this game, but I tried to kind of put that bug in people's ear. Like, I know they're 1-5. I think they're a little bit better than maybe some of these other teams at the bottom of the league. That dude was good, man. They could not keep Thomas out of the paint, and that had the defense clapping. It was kickouts and scrambles, and then everybody was getting downhill. He was problematic. I got to be honest with you. I'm not really looking forward to Arkansas going down there to Baton Rouge. They're going to have to figure some things out, but they did what they had to do. Acuff was unconscious, man, in the second half of that basketball game, and down the stretch for Arkansas. Was really, really good to see. And then I got to give credit to Cal, where you've got the time out there. There's about a minute left. You're trying to, what you would think would be put a dagger into this one. You knew that they were going to come out there and put a lot of pressure on Acuff, probably double him, maybe triple team him. And I thought they ran some good action to get that 3 for Trevin, who, again, hadn't done much throughout the course of the game, but he stepped up and buried it when he needed to. That was a big-time shot for TB.
Yeah, Trevin basically, on like 4 possessions spaced out by like 7 minutes each, just made completely massive game-changing plays. He had 3 steals in this game. I felt like that one, and I think he got taken out after the game. I was like, dude, that was like the best effort I've seen from him that led to an Arkansas transition bucket. I think it was when Billy Richmond tied the game at 50 or 60 or something like that. And I was like, man, massive play from Trevin. Felt like he had some good rebounds early, but there was just times where you forget he's out there. That shot for Trevin, I feel like, is there all day, every day. We've seen him knock down 3 or 4 threes in some of these games. Needed one right there to kind of put it away. Huge stuff from that, which really saved what was pretty much, let's just say, a disastrous performance from Arkansas's front court, really on both ends of the floor. LSU maybe didn't run the ball through the post as much as we maybe thought they would, but I didn't think any of Arkansas's bigs really offered a ton of resistance there, and then none of them were able to make Arkansas or make LSU pay on the other end. Malik Ewan had a couple little foul calls here and there. Trevin knocks down the 3, but outside of that, not much offense out of your front court, and it was the Darius Acuff show, man. But I think as Arkansas is going into this Oklahoma game, this was the perfect kind of game to prepare them for that, because you're going to face another team in Oklahoma who's 1-6, back against the wall. They've got some guys that can make you pay. They're going to probably be as motivated as they'll ever be, and you just kind of have to hunker down and play good enough basketball to get by, which, you know, they've shown a little bit of an ability to do here.
Yeah, it seems like outside of Texas A&M just handling their business, this was one of those days in the SEC that's been just weird. You know, a lot of competitive basketball. You know, Arkansas, they sneak by in this one. We were watching on my phone, Andrew, before Arkansas started, the end of that Oklahoma-Missouri game, where it took 2 buzzer beaters for Missouri to sneak out that one at home against a 1-5 team in SEC play. Auburn goes to Florida and picks up a win there. So now Texas A&M's all alone in first place in the SEC standings, by the way. But That gets Arkansas back on pace with them. Kentucky was in like a 2-point game with Ole Miss at Rupp Arena with like 2 to 3 minutes left, and they kind of stretched it out there and won in the end. So it was one of those where it was like a get-by game, for a lot of these teams in the league, and Arkansas was able to do it there when all was said and done. It is kind of crazy to look at some of this stuff here. It's Arkansas loses by 8 on the glass. They've been so much better rebounding here lately. Not so much in this game. Lost in the paint 42-36, but let me tell you, they were doubled up at halftime. So they turned that around a little bit in the second half, but it was dicey there. It was funny because LSU has a 4-point lead in Bud Walton Arena at halftime without making a three. And then right before the second half started, you're like, and they'll make 5 threes or something in the second half. Then they hit 2 threes for their first 2 shots. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. But hey, they did what they had to do and figured it out, man. So we'll take it.
I mean, as we say after really all these games, win or lose, sometimes you have to just look at a 1-game sample size, take what you can from it, and then just ignore it, because moving forward, you're not really like, every game kind of has its own identity. If there's one thing we learned from Eric Musselman, every game is its unique creature, even if you're playing the same team. And you look at Arkansas's 2 games in Bud Walton Arena this week, you play Vanderbilt, a much better, who had a great bounce back performance today as well, objectively better team than LSU. Nobody would argue it. But it was a little bit easier matchup for Arkansas. They win that one by 1,000, and it's easy to look at that and say, okay, so is Arkansas just this good all the time now? No, you move on to the next one. It means nothing coming into this one where you look at an objectively worse LSU team that's worse than Arkansas, worse than Vandy, worse than most of these teams Arkansas is going to play. But it was kind of a weird matchup, and you just have to be prepared for that as a team, because that's exactly what March Madness is all about, is facing these different teams. One might be a 13 seed, but they might be a better matchup for you than the 3 seed you're going to face. And you just got to be prepared for all of it. And so you can learn from games like this. And during this stretch of the schedule, you just could not afford to slip on a banana peel, knowing some of the big games Arkansas has coming down the pipe. And so we'll see if they can take care of business on the road in Norman before the fun starts to get going.
Yeah, no kidding, man. It's funny you mentioned Eric Musselman and the lessons we learned from him. I felt like I was watching Arkansas play an Eric Musselman team when we were watching that game. LSU just it's like a whole lineup of dudes who are 6'7" and switchable and can get downhill, but they can't shoot. Like, it just looked very, very familiar. I don't miss that brand of basketball, to be honest with you. Hell, it's crazy. That LSU comes in, they shoot 25 free throws at Bud Walton Arena. Arkansas only got 18. That was only because they had to get a couple at the end when LSU was forced to extend the game. The 7 of 18 from the free throw line. Man, I know Arkansas's had a couple of those this year, but for the season, they were up over 75% as a team. That was rough. And it felt like, so Acuff missed 3 of 4 there in the final minute. Carter, after that timeout, goes up there and misses 2. They're missing front ends of 1-and-1s, and it's just like, man, what is going on here? You're at home. You figure maybe you do that kind of stuff on the road, but so there were all the ingredients, I guess, Andrew, were there for Arkansas to get upset here, except the Razorbacks had Darius Acuff, and they had an awesome crowd,
Yeah, which when you look at a 30, 35 game season, we would love for them all to be games where you just do everything well and you play your brand of basketball. Sometimes you do just need your dudes to be dudes, and Arkansas's guy certainly was that, making a pretty strong case for SEC Player of the Year. But yeah, it is just crazy, and I feel like there's a lot of statistics for Arkansas. Turnovers. Arkansas, if you look at their season averages, they're good in the turnover department, but there's been multiple games this year where they just go crazy on that. Rebounding. Arkansas, if you look at their yearly numbers, pretty solid on the boards, but we've seen that just randomly pop up and be an issue. 3-point offense and defense. You look at both. Arkansas does well on the year, but there's just random matchups where these things pop up. And so being able to kind of overcome that when things aren't going according to plan is important to do. And you're going to have to do it against teams better than LSU. So love to see them be able to do it at home.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us, and we'll get to your chats here pretty soon tonight. And then we'll let you guys kind of go back and, look at your snow if you want to.
Yeah.
But got to give a shout out to our post-game sponsors, Fight House. Place is cool. Have you guys been out there yet? The Fight House Gym in Northwest Arkansas. It's the #1 boxing, MMA, and strength training gym built for athletes, competitors, and anyone ready to push their limits. From high-energy boxing and MMA training to free weights, elite cardio equipment, sleds, and cross-training, Fight House Gym delivers everything you need to train at the highest level. Whether you're a seasoned fighter or just starting over your fitness journey, This is the gym that meets you where you are and pushes you further. Fight House Gym's open now at 10131 Webway in Fayetteville. That's exit 58 off I-49. You can sign up today at fighthousegym.com or call 951-623-9745. Step inside and bring the fight. Okay, so I want to I see this clip that came up here, and it looks like Trevin and Darius Acuff were in the post game here, and that sounds like we got a clip from Acuff. I'm anxious to hear what the Hogs have to say about this one, because really there's only so much for us to say in a game like this. Arkansas didn't play well. They found a way, which is what you got to do. Good teams scrap it out, and especially at home you win. You got like a Herculean performance from Acuff. Okay, now what? Well, we're going to get into the chats, but let's hear from Acuff first about his performance in this game.
Told me right when we went to timeout, two had went with me to play before. I think I turned it over. He was wide open. So once I seen him do that again, I just hit him. I knew he was going to make it. But, yeah, it was kind of from him for real, not even coach.
Okay, so, yeah, he was talking about then that play where they came out of the timeout. And he's right, because I forgot Acuff had that turnover there late in the stretch where it looked like maybe he was looking for him and he wasn't there, pass wasn't there, whatever. But we got the confirmation that, Cal kind of drew that one up there for TB. How about that? Do we call that letting the chalk talk?
Sure. And
yeah.
I call it just, you have a 6'10" guy that's pretty much open all the time. Like LSU actually had two guys that were fairly close position, but when you're 6'10", you that shot is available to you all the time. It's actually crazy that Trevin has games where he doesn't attempt 3-pointers in like an entire half.
Yeah, I know. That is kind of weird to see. Who do we feel like outside of Acuff? Who do we feel like played well in this basketball game for Arkansas? Because I feel I'm conflicted. It's like, for example, I thought Malik Thomas did some great things offensively in this game. But defense, it felt like he really struggled, especially with the McKinnon dude. It felt like every time he was matched up on McKinnon, it was a bucket. Trevin made the shot there. It wasn't his best game. Ewan, early in the game, I was like, all right, I love his energy. And then just missed free throws, missed layups, bad turnovers. And it was like, gosh, they got to get him out of there. DJ hit a couple shots for Arkansas. That was good to see. Carter, I felt like he was the guy who brought the energy. He kind of matched LSU's intensity, but then he couldn't get anything to fall. He hit a big three a little bit later in the game. But I don't know. I feel like everybody was maybe solid in one area, but then maybe off the cliff in the other direction in different spots.
Yeah, weirdly enough, Billy Richmond was good in this game, but it wasn't your typical Billy Richmond. Like, I felt like he also was having a ton of issues staying in front of guys defensively, but you're able to get out and run a few times. He's huge for Arkansas. Anytime anyone gets a rebound or a steal, Billy Richmond is a factor in transition for Arkansas. I felt like he was a big part of getting the crowd into the game. I feel like, weirdly enough, and, Carter, I think Carter finished with 5 points, 5 rebounds. And so you don't look at that and say that's a good game. But I'm with you. I thought he played really hard and was effective, just couldn't get anything to fall, and had a couple shots close to the rim that he couldn't convert on, and had the three that would have lit the roof off the place that he almost airballed where he was wide open on, but he hits the big one later. I thought Carter fought hard for Arkansas, and in that first half kept some loose balls alive that really kept Arkansas in the game. But yeah, not a big performance out of anybody, really. Ewan was in position to make plays, but just could not get anything to fall at the rim, and then everybody had a little bit of a grabbing a rebound issue.
The broadcast kept saying that that Arkansas was late to the party, and I tend to agree with that. Sure. Like stretches in the second half, they played with the intensity required to control a game like this. They scored 52 points in the second half, but at the same time, I can't really get over how easy it was for LSU to get downhill and get in the paint on them from that standpoint too. So one of those games, man. Let's get into the chat and see what folks are up to here, and we'll continue to star some of these as we go through. But I'm anxious to see the vibe from everybody. I hope that it's mostly kind of how we feel, where it's like, you might have got away with one here, but you take the dub when it's all said and done. Ozzy says he feels like he just got a prostate exam, which, hey, I mean, if you lost, you definitely would have felt like that. Maybe one that lasted a little longer than you wanted it to. They lingered over there, but yeah, I feel you, man. It was a tough one.
This is a prostate exam that does last a little long and is uncomfortable, but you got good news at the end of it. You found out that you're clear. Like you're all good.
Right. Man, oh man. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Hazelwood, appreciate you. He says, The Razorback hopeful willed this one to a win. Grateful. Yeah. I mean, we can't say it enough. Major shout out to the crowd. That was a crowd that was significantly better than any non-conference home game they had besides Louisville. That was a better crowd in this game than they had for the South Carolina game on the midweek without snow. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree. Dude, it was better than almost all of their non-conference crowds except for
the Louisville game.
That's really it. But I mean, it was better than – I would have to go back and see – I didn't attend the South Carolina game, so I can't speak for it. But it was like if you just took a picture of the crowd with no context, you wouldn't have been able to know for sure it was a snow game.
Speaking of prostate exams, I feel like the dudes that were sitting beside us on that row might need to get one. The bladder control just wasn't there. The back and forth to the bathroom was crazy, bro.
We were pretty much in the student section, and we got a heavy dose of people needing to get by us to get, either to the bathroom or to the concession or whatever. And then we had a heavy dose of just horrible basketball takes.
Yeah.
There are guys, trust me, there are students at the University of Arkansas who think Nick Pringle should play more minutes. I kid you not.
Yeah. They were not happy with Mr. Ewan in this basketball game for sure, which
fair enough.
For stretches, I get it. Big Salty Hog, thanks, buddy. We appreciate the super chat. He says, nice call on the 30-piece, C-Dub. Acuff is the GOAT. I love our freshmen. Hope y'all enjoy the snow. I'm enjoying it just fine right now. I know we're about to get a bunch, tonight and into tomorrow. Did nail it with this Darius Acuff call. It was pretty simple for me, Andrew. These games tend to get a little bit weird. It's a different time. Everything's thrown off a little bit. You got to adjust your schedule. It sucks to have to walk over or try to drive over, all those things, right? And sometimes college basketball players can be divas, right? But this is nothing to Darius Acuff. He's the Michigan man. Right? He's out there, getting up shots in the backyard in Detroit in this kind of weather. So I just had a feeling that he was due for a big game. Didn't think that he would almost take the first half off and then do it, but I'll take it nonetheless. So, and they needed every single bit of it. They needed all 31 of those points from Darius Acuff to win this basketball game. So good on him for stepping up when he needed to.
I'm just no longer going to do the thing where I'm like, weird start to the game from Acuff, but he turned it on after that. That's just how it goes. They usually sub him out at like somewhere between the 12 to 14 minute mark of the first half. That's when he gets his usually one and only rest. He's always way better after that. Like they should almost just skip the first 6 minutes for him. Like maybe take him out of the game at the 18:38 mark.
Yeah, I would have been fine with that in this game. And then I thought, because you got to make adjustments throughout the flow of the game. They eventually did it, but when Arkansas was kind of scuffling there, it was weird in the first half. And there was that long stretch where they were kind of paddling along, just like treading water, I guess, and they weren't getting a lot of traction offensively, where him and DJ were playing together, and they were hell-bent on, we're going to have DJ on the ball, and we're going to slide Acuff off, which I like the idea of DJ coming in and doing that, kind of being the point guard with the second unit, and you can do that with Acuff maybe a few possessions, but there came a point where I was like, all right, maybe your best player needs to be on the ball a little bit, because they were going multiple possessions where it kind of reminded me of early season Nelly Davis, where Acuff was kicking it in the corner, and it was DJ and Carter and TB, all these guys just dominating on one side of the floor, and they weren't getting reversals, and Acuff is just chilling there. And it's like, okay, so why is he in the game then? For defense? I hope not, because he's not playing it in this game. But in the second half, they did the things that they needed to do and put that man back on the ball, and he got the job done. So it's not like well, why the hell would they ever have DJ on the ball if Acuff is in? No, right. It worked out great. But throughout the flow of the game, when you see this isn't really going to be the catalyst as it was against Vanderbilt, I'm glad that they made the adjustment they did, because I wasn't crazy about it in the first half.
Well, and not for nothing, the only two notable plays DJ made were spot up, catch and shoot threes. Yeah. So it's not even like he benefited from having, lead creation responsibility. So honestly, it just was they made the decision they needed to in the second half, which credit to them. You knew they would too.
Yeah. And I like this from Derek, and we appreciate the super chat. He says, sometimes it's truly the Jimmys and Joes. Acuff was Jimmy tonight. Brazil knew he was going to make that clutch three at the end. That's a shot that previous season Trevins don't necessarily make, but he's more confident in his game, even when he hadn't played well pretty much the entire night. So big to see him step up and knock that down. But yeah, I mean, Arkansas had a Darius Acuff and LSU didn't, and that's good enough for me in a game like this.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a couple clips here from Cal that I want to share, but first got to tell you about our partners over at OZK Insurance. You guys know the drill. They've spiced things up in 2026 with this new full-service mobile app. It's slick, man. It looks good, and they're an independent agency. You don't see that often with independent agencies, but they're going to shop all the carriers. They're not just tied down to one, so they're going to make sure that they get you the best coverage and price for your insurance needs. And with the app, now you can see all your policies under one roof. You can pay your bills. You can request roadside assistance if you get stuck out there in the snow. You can file claims. You can request policy changes. Everything right there from the convenience of your phone. If you're tired of being stuck with one carrier or chasing down paperwork, go to ozkinsurance.com or search OZK Insurance in the App Store or Google Play. It's a local agency with national level options. One powerful app. It's OZK Insurance. I didn't get them backwards with Fight House today, so we're already off to a better start. Let's see this we got a couple clips from Cal. First one I want to play here. He's addressing the fans, which I'm very interested to see what he has to say about that. And then free throws in the same clip. So this might be Pete Cal. We'll see what he has to say here.
First of all, there were over 1,000 tickets turned in. And it's not just to do it. You got to go through the process to do it. It's not just here, take the tickets. We ended up giving over 200 tickets to veterans, 500 plus to teachers, over 150 to the police. And the students, we gave away 15,000. So you saw them behind they ran in and took the best seat they could get. And I'm just saying, for them to do that on this day in this weather with what's going on, I thank the fans who turned in tickets and the ones that came here anyway. Like, there were probably 8,000 that drove here from somewhere. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I think they're falling in love with this team. And thank goodness we had a will to win the last 7-8 minutes. But they didn't quit. You had to take the game. They came in, they played harder, they were rougher, they executed. We didn't stay in front enough, so it wasn't 5-on-5. We tried to steal too many balls. Every time we tried to steal, they scored, and we fouled too much. And then the one thing, we shot a really high percentage, except from the foul line. How do you shoot 30% from the foul? What are you talking about? We're one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country. But that tells you they're not machines, they're not robots. They have minds. At times they could be fragile. But it was a good win for us.
Damn it. I was about to do the thing where I was like, man, I love it when we get a half hour into the show and we play a Cal clip and he's echoed everything that we just said. Makes you feel like you know ball. But I roll my eyes every time he does that. They're not robots. They're not machines. I know BBN loves that, man. But he's right about everything there. And yes, credit. We said at the top, felt like Arkansas stole this one. And they had to, because LSU deserves credit in this game. We've given it to them here, but Arkansas did have to go take it. It wasn't like LSU was, rattled and, a 1-5 team that pissed down their leg down the stretch, which is what bad teams do. They were up for it, man. And they took Arkansas down to the final minute, and they had to make the plays necessary to go ahead and win that game. And they did. So credit to them on, from that standpoint, when they played C game or whatever it was from there. Maybe not even that, to be honest with you, but hey.
It's like they knew exactly how much, like he used that term, will to win.
Yes.
However much was needed. It's like someone told them, hey, you need 17% will to win. That's what I'll give you. I'll give you exactly that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And seeing this from John, he was obviously listening to the press conference, and he said that Cal said that both Carter Knox and Nick Pringle were sick during the game. So there you go. Which if Carter was sick, he sure was playing hard for a guy that was
seriously
sick. Did Nick have one of those fevers that makes you not able to feel your hands to where you can't grab a basketball? I don't know, but It seems like that crud has kind of been running through the team for the last, I don't know, I guess it was before the Auburn game that Acuff was sick, and it's kind of been moving its way through. So, yeah.
I mean, I know we make fun of Nick Pringle's hands a lot. They had one of those plays where Darius has the ball and he tosses it to Nick so he can do the like dribble handoff. You know, you're just basically giving it to the guy so you can do that. And I swear the ball was like up here and it almost got away from him. And I'm like, buddy, that was just a give and go, like very quick. We're not even supposed to wonder if you can catch that one. That was point blank. But he didn't turn it over.
Yeah, he did not. I want to play this actually because I think Cal might have addressed. I don't know if it was like a stomach bug or the flu or whatever's going around, but I think he mentions it here in this clip from John.
Edge to him, and I just keep working on his body language because he doesn't understand. He gets mad at himself, and
I want to stop it real quick. I'm assuming this is about Carter. You saw it. I saw it. I think everybody saw it. Carter and Chin Coleman, I think it was Chin, right?
Yes.
That were getting after it on the bench. And that was right after that segment where, they came out of the timeout. Carter had missed back-to-back free throws, had a little bit of a heat check three, although I actually didn't hate the shot. And we weren't really sure what the heated discussion was about. And we know that Cal's big on when Carter's body language dips or whatever, they get him out of there until he picks his chin back up and they put him right back in. So maybe we'll find out a little bit more about it here, but that was very noticeable on the bench from those guys.
I think kind of go ahead. No,
oh no, go ahead. You're fine.
I was just going to say, like, he's done the bit and he's doing it right now. The Carter has this bad body language thing. Yeah. I think it was a direct result of he gets pulled due to the bad body language, goes right back in there. And they're just kind of trying to play that game with him a little bit.
Exactly.
Well, you're affecting these other guys. They're looking to you. And you got to be the one talking, and you're fine, and then do your thing, and then how about this? Defensively, do what you're doing on offense. How about going and getting a couple rebounds so we can finish the game off like Malik Thomas did? But I love coaching. I love coaching this team. I told him, I walk in every day, I'm happy because I have a talented team. I got a job to do, hold them accountable, help them cross the finish line. But I'm trying to do everything I can. I keep saying, be a star in your role. Like you watched Carter, who was sick. He and Nick were both sick. But Carter, how's he rebounding now? Right? All of a sudden, he's a different player. Be a star in your role. Go rebound that ball where no one else can jump 41 inches like you. Go. Drive the ball, car crash. Go. And then every once in a while, shoot a three. But not if you're crowded. Drive it. Because it can't guard you. How about Billy? Is he a star in his role? How about TB? I want them. They're all different. Be a star in your role. And that means you got to come ready to play in a great mindset, in a great mood stated way.
Fair enough. Yeah, I liked Carter's activity in there. You said it to me at one point, Andrew, when they got TB out of there and they were checking Carter back into the game, and you said, good on Arkansas for getting their best rebounder back in the game. Because it's true, man. He was the most aggressive out there pursuing the rebounds, but it wasn't even that. Arkansas kept getting their hands, which Cal says, go get balls, go grab balls. Maybe they were grabbing their own balls, but they weren't grabbing the basketballs. Like it was crazy out there how many times they would get two hands on it and just couldn't secure it. And LSU either would wind up, poking it out and creating a loose ball situation or tapping it out of bounds. Like there just weren't any clean rebounds for like the entire first half and into the second half. But the later they got along in the game, they started playing a little bit harder there. I think they could kind of sense like, all right, we got to stop screwing around here. This could go wrong for us. They did a lot better there, but I like more of the same with the conversation about Carter and all these guys kind of, he's right about being a star in your role. And hopefully Carter's a step closer to doing that. But despite not really having a great game in terms of making shots and some of the things that we normally see him do.
I got to be honest. I just watching Carter play today, I thought he was kind of a star in his role. I mean, maybe not a star because, I don't think he had a ton of activity on steals and blocks or anything like that. But I thought he was playing hard, and especially knowing that he was sick, I'd have liked him to make another shot or two. But I thought he did play hard. I thought he kept the ball alive, and he didn't seemed like a guy who was trying to do stuff he wasn't capable of doing. And I think a lot of times as fans, we just have to understand who these guys are. I understand we thought Carter Knox was going to take this massive step forward as a sophomore. That doesn't necessarily have to lead to points per game. Trevin Brazil, as talented as he is offensively, Arkansas never runs offense through him. He's not going to be a 15 per game scorer, although he's averaging 12 or 13 just off of assisted buckets, threes, and dunks. Like, that's who he is. He just needs to do more of that. We don't need these guys to be anything other than who they are, and I'm glad that Cal just really understands that, and seems like most of the guys on the team do. Like, is there any understanding with Billy Richmond? He knows exactly who he is. He does things that he thinks he can do.
Yeah. You mentioned Billy, and I just the most typical Billy Richmond play that defines his career happened there in the second half, where he poked that ball loose, and then like he damn near dribbled it off his face twice, and was just like stumbling all over his own feet the entire way in transition, and then gets fouled. He gets an and one. He goes up there and makes the free throw after it looks like he landed on his wrist and maybe hurt that. Just classic Billy, out of control, but he just plays so much harder than everybody else that he makes plays. And so, yeah, like I understand it when Cal is always doing a thing where he's like, hey, Carter, why don't you play more like Billy? Or, hey, whoever, you got to have the same body language and energy that he brings, because he's right. Like that stuff, it impacts other guys out there on the floor. Billy, it's always in a positive way. And you need that from your guys who have been around and done this before, like Carter. So fair enough. Let's see. Let's get back to a few super chats here. Appreciate Arkansas. He says, sometimes you have to be able to win ugly. 39% free throws will get you beat most nights. No doubt. Loved Leak's off-ball defense. I'm glad you loved his off-ball defense, because he played 0 on-ball. In fact, maybe you thought that he was actually off-ball when he was defending on-ball, because he couldn't keep anybody in front of him and provided 0 resistance the entire game. He might be one of the top 2 defenders on the team. I would agree with that, and that's not a good thing. He was not good defensively in this basketball game.
He's gonna have nightmares about that white boy that looks like so many different animated white guys.
That Ozzy got after him, man. He had nothing for him out there. But to your point though, like on the season, he has been a great off-ball defender. He's got great instincts in there, and he's opportunistic, and he can jump in passing lanes. Knows he'll hesitate just a little bit, just to deke a defense into, oh, I caught him sleeping. We can hit him with that backdoor pass, and he steals it like 9 times out of 10. And he did some of that in this game, but guarding the ball.
Yeah, he definitely. So, I mean, the difference between off-ball, on-ball is crazy. It's happened now twice in the last week or so, where he's not only intercepted a pass, but like not just like getting your hand in the pass. Like he is there so far ahead of time that he's able to just like corner pick 6 on a screen pass type of thing, where he's like almost overrunning it because of how on ball on target he is. Love to see him off ball making those plays.
Yeah, for sure. Hairless Hog, a hog of his word. We appreciate the $5 super chat after a win. He says, blah, here's $5.
I like that. We appreciate it nonetheless.
Yeah, we do. We certainly do. I want to play this clip from Cal on Darius Acuff, because he goes for 31. It's a career high. And again, like they needed every single one of those points from him in this game. Cal's been challenging him a lot in games, at practice. They're trying to get him to be a better defender, like all these things, but don't let it get lost in the sauce how good this dude is. He just won SEC Freshman of the Week again. Like there's no way that they give it to anybody else after what he just did in this basketball game. Really, really impressive. And, Cal got the opportunity to get on his soapbox about how good his freshman is.
Well, because the guys I coached, I'm not, he's better than, no. I mean, there's some MVPs and stuff, the NBA, 2 of them. Bunch of rookies of the year, defensive players of the year. He's a beast kid. I call him a beast. You're a beast a guy. Really skilled and is wired and driven to get better. And it means something to him. Those are things I can't. When you don't care about it, or you're delusional about what you're going to be able to do, it's no fun coaching. And I've had meetings where I say to guys, do I want this more than you want it for yourself? Because if I do, tell me so I'm not getting crazy. Because when you get crazy as a coach, you're crazy to all the rest of your players. You're so mad at this guy because he won't bring it. He won't go take it. You end up getting mad at other guys, and it's not fair to them. So every once in a while, I have those meetings. You don't have to do that with him. The only thing I said to him the other day, body language, energy at times. You kind of looks like you're going, you jog, you don't go after a ball, and I'm losing my mind. And I said, do you understand I know how good you are? I know. But I want you to be the best player in the country, not just a good player. And until you clean this stuff up, you're not going to be. But anybody watching this game doesn't say, well, he's one of those guys. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, he's legitimately good, and he plays on a team that really respects him, and he respects everybody.
Fair enough. I like that. Challenge him. Was it John was telling us that somebody told him, maybe somebody else watched this today. Was it game day? College game day this morning where they were they
top 10 freshmen or whatever.
Top 10 freshmen and didn't say Darius Acuff's name.
Wild behavior.
Top 10? How can you not include it? He's the SEC freshman of the year. For him not to be on a list like that, and again, I didn't watch, but I don't know why anybody would necessarily lie about that. That's crazy, man. He's got some things he's got to work on or whatever, but he is special. This dude's different. Enjoy him while he's here. And you know, we've really been championing Darius Acuff all season for not getting the, you know, maybe as much credit as he deserves. He's been getting more and more as the season has gone along. But if there is any list out there that includes someone's belief of who the top 10 freshmen in the country are, and Darius Acuff isn't on it, you don't know ball and you shouldn't be getting paid to talk about it. That's absurd, man. Yeah,
there's some really good freshmen out there in the country, but I mean, he was averaging 19.6 coming in. Drops 30 today. I'd assume he's going to be, I'm not a math magician, but around 20. I believe that was third among freshmen or something like that.
Yeah, 6
assists. I imagine he's top 3 in freshmen for assists as well. He's doing it super efficiently. What was he, 13 of 19 today?
13 of 19.
And then was taking high difficulty shots too, and was just knocking
4 of
them
7
down.
from 3, so he's still like well over 40% from 3 on the year.
Legit a 50, 40, 80 guy, man. That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Good on him. Okay, let's get back to some more super chats. And again, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us, and stay safe out there the rest of the weekend. It's Lanky says, Oklahoma 1-point overtime loss at home. Is it happening again? No, because Arkansas plays at Oklahoma. Am I concerned about that game on Tuesday on the road? Yes, I am. I have been all season. If you guys go back and look at any of the preseason projections or anything that I had, the game by game stuff, I always looked at this game at Oklahoma and went, I don't like it. It smells funny.
I think what he meant was because Arkansas's last 2 road games, they've played teams that are coming off of overtime losses.
Gotcha.
And so now Arkansas's next road game, they're facing another team. I think Ole Miss or Georgia had lost to Ole Miss by 2, but his point still stands.
I see what you're saying.
This is another interesting little spot here.
Yeah, Arkansas keeps running into that. The difference here is the level of team and the atmosphere, if I'm being honest with you. Auburn, really good. Like they validated that this week and certainly today. Arkansas ran into a bad situation there. Thank you for clarifying because you're right. I think that's exactly what he's talking about. Georgia, they got their ass kicked today, all right, but they've kind of proven themselves as like, hey, this is a tournament team. They're going to be hovering around that top 25 most of the year. That's also a very underrated SEC atmosphere. Great. Arkansas, that place is going to be dead. It's going to be empty in Norman on Tuesday. They're 1-6 now in SEC play. Porter Moser on the hot seat, kind of getting into that point where you wonder if he's going to lose his team. Like it's a dire situation. So sure, they could come out and be ultra motivated with their hair on fire like those other teams. They've got some guys who can do it. Nigel Pack's very good at basketball. Tay Davis, very good. Xavier Brown. Like they got 3 guys there who can get hot. And if you play defense like you did today, that could be a problem for Arkansas. But they're also just as likely to fold up shop here at some point, because that was a dagger for them today. Like that could have been one of those, hey, can we flip our season back? And now you're really like, you're not going to make the tournament.
Honestly, if I were a family member of one of those players on the Oklahoma roster, I'd probably suggest mailing it in. I'd be like, you know what, dude? Like, this is a lost cause.
It's tough for them. The question is, for Arkansas, it's a couple things, right? It's, can you just take the show on the road, period, and be ready to play. If they could go play like they did it at Ole Miss, like, because they had a big lead and they took their foot off the gas there at the end of that game. But they've shown that they can go on the road and be ready to start a basketball game. Michigan State earlier in the year, that's the toughest place they played all season, and that was a back and forth. But like those results against those home teams in a big atmosphere that were super hyped for the game, they haven't been there for that. So one, can Arkansas take the show on the road? Two, I'm going to forever go back to Cal's opening statement after that Vanderbilt game. Like, how do you do that and then do some of the things that you've done in other spots? Like, do you win a game and get arrogant? Do you feel like somebody's just going to give it to you? And so the motivation factor, I think, is going to be really important for Arkansas. Going into that Georgia game, Andrew, I said, I would just be shocked if Arkansas went out and laid an egg after experiencing what they experienced at Auburn and knowing what they're walking into. Well, then they went out there and did it. And I'm going to say it again. Andrew, I would be shocked if Arkansas goes to Oklahoma and lays an egg after experiencing what they've experienced in their last 2 road games, and now they're playing a worse team. Like, there's just no excuse for it. Doesn't mean it won't happen.
Well, you think about the Georgia game, they at least had a stretch where they did play very well. They played very hard. They made that a game. They did, obviously, you couldn't do it for a full 20 minutes or even a full whatever, but you had a stretch there. And in this LSU game, it was really about a 7-minute stretch that Arkansas played good basketball. It wasn't 40 minutes. That might be enough at Oklahoma, where that's not enough on the road at Auburn. That's not enough on the road at Georgia. That's not enough if you're playing someone like Florida, but on the road at Oklahoma, it really honestly might only take 8 minutes of good basketball from Arkansas.
And I do think it helps that Arkansas just played another team that, according to the standings, is at the bottom of the league, and they came into your house super motivated. Yep, they made you sweat. They took you wire to wire, and it's again, like, if there's a such thing as a wake-up call, but you can look at that and go, listen, boys, we can't take anything for granted here in the SEC against anyone, anywhere, whether it's at Bud Walton Arena or Norman or Auburn or anywhere else. You have to bring it every single game. Hopefully they do. They had several guys who didn't play well today that you would hope would bounce back pretty quickly on Tuesday. And they should have. Arkansas might have more fans there. I don't know how the weather is going to impact that. I know it's all going to be out of here by Sunday afternoon, but it's going to be like negative 15 degrees or something, so it's not going anywhere. And it's a midweek, but I imagine there's going to be a decent little contingent of Razorback fans. Ain't nobody going to be there to watch that Oklahoma basketball team unless they give away free beer or something. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, the most important Hog fans will be there. We know that.
Yeah, that's right. Can't wait to get down there, man. It's going to be fun. Let's see. We've got Finch. Appreciate the super chat. Good to hear from you. Good to see you.
Oh, man.
He says, a win is a win. On to the next. Appreciate the prayers and shout outs. Woo Pig Suey. Yeah. Well, I'm assuming you're doing okay if you're able to type a message there, but maybe it's a one-hand deal, but glad you're hanging in there, buddy. And it's good to see you for sure. Let's see. We got Filthy Tom. He says, most important game of my life. First kid born at 7:24. She doesn't know what it's like to lose. Woo Pig Suey. Vibes immaculate over here. Congratulations.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Curtis knows what it's like to start off 1-0 with your child.
Yes.
Now, for Curtis, that was followed by 10 straight losses. So
Correct.
Let's hope that it's a different situation here. I'd seen a different chat from Filthy Tom where he was saying about walking around the hospital, and I was kind of thinking, dang, do we got another guy on the IL? Like, what's going on? That's the best reason to be at the hospital, right?
Yeah, very, very cool, man. Happy for you. That's awesome. Glad you started with a dub. And yeah, Andrew's 100% right. Wesley was born. We enjoyed the Arkansas State win in football, and it's been downhill from there. He's going to be a basketball kid because football it's just been ruined for him. We've had to burn multiple Razorback onesies. Sorry if you guys bought one that we
didn't bring the right vibes to the season.
Yeah, just been cursed throughout the every Saturday of football season the rest of the way. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Like to hear that. There's Quinn. He says, I can't wait for the show Monday night. Yeah, this is actually going to be a really fun one. I'm looking forward to it. He's talking about Inside SEC Basketball Live. He says, "War damn Eagle, y'all gutted out. A win's a win. I'm on cloud 9. So glad we won. Can't stand Florida fans." That's a huge win for Auburn down there at Florida. I don't know if not season saving because they were in a decent spot, but they've got some loss volume. They needed like a signature stamp away from home. That's a huge win for Auburn. Puts them in a really good spot. And we'll see how they continue to respond moving forward. But yeah, I mean, Arkansas, they gutted this one out. Auburn played South Carolina over the weekend. South Carolina came into their place. They wound up winning that game by 4 or whatever. Similar vibe. Like you had to gut it out.
Sure.
Kentucky, who has been playing better. They've won 5 in a row now. They were just it was a weird game. It tipped at 10 a.m. Central Time, and Ole Miss was within a bucket of them with like 2.5 minutes left, and they had to kind of grind that one out and get the win. Missouri, who's very much a bubblicious type of team there, they needed 2 miracles to escape this Oklahoma team we've just been talking about at home. Sometimes it's just kind of what you got to do. I would have loved to get the style points. Would love for Arkansas to hang 100 on them. They didn't, but yeah, the most important thing is they got out of there with a dub. We've got Tuna. Good to see you. Member for 3 months. I feel like it's been longer than that. Says Acuff carried the team in the second half. Knox brought energy and is getting Cal's message. Leak was decent defensively, and a dub is a dub. I'll take it. Not picky today. I'm going to continue to push back on everybody who's saying Malik Thomas defended well today because
they remember the steals, which, listen, the steals are cool. I love steals, and I wish more guys were out there getting steals. But on ball, it was. I mean, there's a lot of when you watch the War Machine tonight, you're going to see a lot of clips of Malik Thomas being the nearest defender of a bucket.
Yeah, and not to pick on him, it was everybody really. I thought Carter was pretty good defensively. Like you mentioned, even Billy was having a hard time keeping guys in front of him. Acuff, it was a struggle. DJ, I thought, had stretches where he defended well, but then, Thomas was getting into the paint on him. It was not a great day for the Arkansas has flipped the switch defensively crowd. They haven't done it quite yet. They've got some stuff to continue to work on there. Appreciate Derek for gifting a membership in there. That's good stuff. We've got Ryan with the super chat, and I'm glad that I saw this because I had another chat of Ryan's that I was going to pull up. He said, "Sorry for the rants. Talent underachieving kills me." They did win the game, right?
Well, also, talent underachieving. I don't know if that's the story of this game where the 5 stars bailed Arkansas out.
They won because of the talent.
Yeah, they won because they had the most talented guy on the floor. Now, there's certainly guys you could point to. You could say, hey, Carter, he's more talented than he's playing. Yeah, I guess.
Right.
Trevin, he's more talented than he's playing, although he did hit pretty much the game-sealing 3. I think Arkansas was a very underwhelming performance from the Hogs today. No doubt about that. I don't know if talent underachieving was the story here.
Right. The one that I saw from Ryan, by the way, that I was going to pull up, I'll just pull it up now. He says, "Curtis, you said multiple times this week there was no reason LSU should come in there and win. Let's start there. There's not.
That's very much a true statement. If Arkansas had lost, we'd be livid right now. There's no doubt about that.
Accurate statement. So I don't know what point you're trying to make there. He says LSU is a bad SEC team and Arkansas's inconsistent play let them stay in the game all damn night. I laid out, I don't like to pat myself on the back too much, but I'm going to right here. On the preview show this morning of the Pod at the Palace, I laid out the exact script for, one, how LSU could stay in this game and make it interesting, which they did, and 2, their pathway to being a good basketball team. Everything that happened today, if you listen to the Pod at the Palace this morning, you're not surprised that it happened. And I actually cautioned everybody who thought this is going to be like South Carolina all over again, or it could be like Vanderbilt all over again, that I didn't get those vibes, that I thought it was going to be a tight game at halftime and that Arkansas would get some separation in the second half, but never quite put them away, which is exactly what happened. It took them longer to get that. I think they wound up getting up by 7 or 8 at one point there later in the second half, but I don't know what you're even talking about. I laid out to you exactly how this was going to happen. Appreciate you listening. Without listening, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, and I do, I totally understand the premise of like, it's not all about just winning and losing. So it's not as simple as, hey, Arkansas won, so we can't be upset. There's plenty you can point to, and we've talked about a lot of it on the show. But we do have to make sure there's a very clear difference. It would be completely different. This show would have a night and day different tone had Arkansas lost. Mm-hmm. And I know a 4-point win maybe not sound like a huge difference between losing. It does matter. It does matter here in this case.
Yeah, it's that's the type of thing that can alter your season. Same could be said for well, several games that LSU has played throughout the course of conference play, but like the Kentucky game, for example. How would BBN have been feeling if Moreno didn't make that shot at the buzzer? They played like ass the whole game. They kind of had to fight, scratch, and claw to get back in that game and get over the hump. But had that shot not gone in, nobody would have been saying, well, they were down 18. They battled back. So tough one, but on to the next. No, they would have been calling for Pope's head like crazy. Yeah, the result matters in the end. Like we said, style points would have been nice. A little bit of defense would have been cool. Malik Ewan making a layup would have been awesome. But you won the game at the end. You're 5-2. You're game out of the lead in the SEC, and you avoided having a blemish on your resume. It's going to be all right. I promise.
Also, real quick, I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but I love Kat saying that Kentucky has already given up on the team. That is not true, because we've seen multiple members of BBN in here who have been like, we're not losing the rest of the year.
Yeah, that is not true.
You may have, but BBN is still very much buying this 5-game win streak.
Yeah, they've won 5 in a row. And it's say what you want about who they won at Tennessee during that stretch. Maybe it's not as aesthetically pleasing as you want over there, Cats, but you would rather be 5-2 like they are in the league right now than, well, a lot of other teams in this conference. Like, they're in a decent position. I know the schedule's getting ready to flip on them literally next week, but I think you got to give your boys a little bit of credit for what they've done here. Hazelwood. We don't have the button because John left on us. He's out pulling somebody out of the snow. Anyway, John can flex his truck. He's just like,
I mean, if you've got it.
Yeah. He came and picked both of us up and dropped us off from this snow game today. So we appreciate it. But thank you for the super chat. He says, at the end of the day, Darius said, Kingston, I'm going to do it with a win.
Did BYU end up winning today? Because I see AJ DeBansta balled out, had 43 as well.
I'm sure. I think they played
big day
Utah
for freshmen
or something. Yeah. What did Kingston Fleming have? 42.
I think 42.
And they lost. Exactly. So, like, to your point, I'm gonna do it with a win. Acuff had his big performance, and Arkansas snuck one out there. So,
and Acuff also beat the team that Fleming's lost to today.
True. Yes,
but Fleming's did beat Acuff. So
some good
rock, paper, scissors here.
Some good developments. Like, you might not have got your own style points necessarily in this game, although they're gonna love it analytically from an offensive standpoint. But Vanderbilt getting off the schneid, going on the road and getting like a 30-point win. Arkansas jumped like 3 spots in KenPom in the middle of the day just because that happened. Now you played both Houston and Texas Tech, but that was such a battle there. The team that you beat wound up getting the win, so that's going to help you also just make some of those age good. You want to keep that Texas Tech game as a quad 1A win, so the more the victories they get, the better off you're going to be. It's a quad 2 win for Arkansas today, by the way. All right, that's almost as good as it gets. Or we'll keep telling ourselves that. I see the super chat from Blake, and he had a follow-up there. Says, on vacation down here and got to see 2 wins for my 7-year-old's birthday. How about that?
Heck yeah.
Very cool. Hope you guys are enjoying the snowcation. The Vanderbilt game was awesome. And I had a great time at the game today, by the way. Again, like, we've gone 10 minutes without mentioning the crowd. Wow. That was very, very cool. I think anybody who was there enjoyed the experience and the atmosphere. And even in some trying times there, I thought the crowd was great. It wasn't like it was a dead arena by any means. In fact, it was the opposite of that. Even when Arkansas was struggling, they kind of willed them back in the game there. So appreciative of that for sure. Walla Walla Hog says, whew, Pig Suey. Yeah, it's well said.
Classic.
That's the kind of game a conference champion wins. Don't play great, but find a way to win. A team that's going to win the conference doesn't lose that game. I'll tell you that right now. So you're right. They do win those games. And yeah, Arkansas didn't have their best and wound up getting it done. They just got to pick it up and be better moving forward. I imagine it'll be light. Tomorrow will probably be like film and get some shots up, get in the training room. But Monday they're going to travel. They'll practice at Oklahoma, and then boom, you're right back at it on Tuesday. And then you got a few days and Kentucky comes to town. Crypto Hog says, stay warm, guys. Go Hogs. Thank you.
Love that
super chat. We appreciate you. Yeah, everybody stay warm. A lot of snow coming our way here in Northwest Arkansas. I know there's ice and sleet and weirdness, in other areas of the state. So hopefully everybody's able to keep their lights on, their power on, their heat on. But the cold for the next few days is going to be brutal. Like negative 15-degree wind chills and stuff that's outrageous. So if you don't have to go outside, don't. It ain't worth it, man. Nasty out there. JP Sullivan is here. It's a light strut day.
Yeah, just a casual
but
little
nevertheless,
turkey strut,
casual turkey strut. Kind of like what Cal did on the sidelines the other day. Casual, very casual. I like it. Stephen Limley says, can we revisit the topic of putting cats in a timeout? The only chat that I've seen from Cats is the one where he said that they've given up on that Kentucky team. So if he's on one and y'all are taking the bait, they had a very similar showing today against Ole Miss at home. So I wouldn't listen to it too much.
I'm trying to remember what it was he put. Oh, he didn't like you saying Auburn was good.
They are.
Yeah, I've been I don't know if Quinn's still around. I've been a big Auburn defender on the show.
Right. Auburn will beat Kentucky when they play. I don't know when that is. I don't know where it's at, but I'm telling you right now, Auburn will win that game. So
I agree.
We'll see how much he likes that one. Jafra, we appreciate you, says, take a shot every time Ewan puts his arms up asking for a foul. You'll be having fun like me right now. If I was Malik Ewan today, I wouldn't have wanted the whistle because he was missing his free throws up there. I'm kind of miffed by Ewan's performance out there today because they were dumping it in there to him and he was getting good looks and he was making like powerful moves, like power dribbles, power drop steps, and just missing bunnies, which is not something that Malik Ewan usually does in there. What he finished for this game, 2 of 7 and then 2 of 4 at the line.
And they were all point blank looks, except for the 3 that he took.
Yeah.
Which was early in the shot clock, by the way.
And a couple just really troubling turnovers in there. He had, one where he missed a couple bunnies on offensive rebound putbacks, and then he sprinted down the floor, and it was a very clear goaltending. And it's just like, sheesh, man, it's not your game in here. And then Pringle, who wound up, he actually got a big bucket late in the game. Pringle did, but he was sick and he kind of had the oven mitt hands going on today. When both of those guys were off the way that they were, and then Trevin didn't give you much either. Arkansas they were fortunate in this game today. Logan, another big one.
Ooh,
there we go. Appreciate you, buddy. And hopefully you're doing well. Did you have as much, luck at the office as you did for the Vanderbilt game? The streets are asking. If you're giving big super chats like this, maybe you were. He says, pig win equals good day. Yes. I cannot tell you how foul of a mood I would have been in if we're dealing with this weather and Arkansas lost that damn basketball game at Bud Walton Arena. So we'll take it, man. Sammy says, no losses at Bud this year. Hashtag Woo Pig Suey, to the point there. Yeah, Arkansas is now, 12 or 13-0?
Yeah.
Within the friendly confines of Bud Walton Arena. I feel like is this the first game, maybe this game in Winthrop of all games, where the crowd kind of maybe pushed them over the top there? You always get those Bud Walton Arena wins. I think it was those two. Outside of that, Arkansas typically just plays really, really well in their home building. So we'll take it, man.
Listen, you should never go to Bud Walton Arena expecting Arkansas to lose.
Correct.
Never. They won't win every single game there. This year they might, but it's like no matter what the year, no matter what the team, always go to Bud Walton Arena expecting a win. And it's a pretty good rule of thumb.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We still got a few chats to get to, and we will. We appreciate everybody. Once again, a final shout out to our sponsors over here at Blue Ember Smokehouse. I think I missed the boat by not just going up and picking up a big care package at Blue Ember before the nonsense hit here. It's all over the state of Arkansas right now. Hopefully you were able to check out one of your local locations. Hopefully they're able to stay open so you can get some good barbecue. They're in Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Rogers. If you haven't been out there yet, go check them out. It's some good stuff. And if you don't want to go out there, but maybe you need some event to get catered, it could be a wedding or a meeting or a party or whatever, any kind of event where you got a bunch of people who want some good barbecue, Blue Ember has you covered. So you see the phone numbers there for all of the local locations. You can check out the QR code that'll take you to their website, or you can type it in the old school way, www.blueembersmokehouse.com. Thank you for supporting your local Blue Ember Smokehouse. All right, a few more chats to get into, and we'll wrap it up here in a few. Quinn straight up says, stay safe. Stay safe. I
Appreciate
like it.
that, Quinn. Quinn's, I love Quinn post Auburn win. Just a gentleman, complete gentleman, just the finest guy you'll ever meet.
That's right. And I am actually very much looking forward to our SEC stream Monday night, because I know he's going to be in there peacocking a little bit. And hey, he had a hell of a week. You've earned it.
Sure.
He also says that Katz has an IQ of about 2 and that he doesn't know a thing. Has this become a back and forth between Quinn and Katz? It's an epic
legendary rivalry right there.
Oh man. And then also we got Mrs. Dan's Van. Certainly do appreciate you. She says, as much as I love Joe Klein, I'm dreaming of the days you boys called the game for the SEC network. Amazing depth of knowledge. Thank you.
To drop a bag for that.
Yeah. At some point here, we'll get back to some form of watch party action.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that plays a little bit more for the midweek road games. We've got some stuff coming for midweek road games for you to keep an eye on there. I enjoy doing those, but here's the thing. For me, we've got to be together, me, you, and John, if we're going to do it. Because when we're from home and we're trying to do the watch party, it's hard enough for everybody to get synced up with us on the broadcast. But when the three of us are at 3 completely different points, it's just, it's tough. And, but I like being in and hanging out with people, and it's a good time. I know that I like the basketball watch parties far more than I like the football one. Was not a big fan of that.
Tennessee game sucked.
Hoops is just kind of like constant action. And so you got a lot of back and forth there. But
it's 2 hours. 2 hours is
exactly
a good time period.
Exactly. So be on the lookout for that. But certainly do appreciate the kind words there. From one more from Quinn, he says, Katz, Lexington is a crap hole and your campus is ass.
I think Lexington is cooler than the campus. The campus does kind of suck. We never went to the campus, which Rupp Arena is not on, by the way. The campus is kind of what it is. I actually kind of enjoyed Lexington. It's not that bad.
I didn't mind Lexington. No, I had a good time there. Even before Arkansas got the win, we were treated really well there. So I will give the town or the city of Lexington a shout. But I will say, if I'm in like full disclosure, like 2 weeks later, me and John went down to Auburn. And as far as like college town and, the campus and everything, Auburn clears.
Auburn had them beat.
It absolutely does. So shout out to them. But anyway, I think we made it through. Anything else that you want to share here? I know we got a couple other clips from Cal, and I might save those for the Pod the Palace and stuff. I think we got to the most important ones. But hey, listen, man, it would have been cool for Arkansas just to beat every SEC team it plays at home the rest of the way by 30. Maybe we were spoiled a little bit on that. A little bit of a dogfight, kind of a scrap. Didn't play well, got the dub. And they're 15-5, and they're 5-2 in the league with some winnable games here on the horizon.
Curtis, this game was the equivalent of a starting pitcher who goes out there and he just didn't have his best stuff. The weather was weird. He wasn't able to really get the command of his slider. He wasn't able to locate his fastball. Just didn't have it. But then you look up at the end of the day and you're like, 5 2/3, 5 hits, but only 2 runs, only 3 or 4 strikeouts. But you only it's like you're just like, you know what? You just kind of got some outs for us, and that's what we needed. You're as a pitcher and as a basketball team, as a whatever, you're going to have those games where just everything's working, 14 strikeouts, whatever. Then you're going to have the games where they're just hitting everything you're throwing. 80% are in the middle. Tuesday night was Arkansas's 16 strikeout game. The Auburn game was like everything they're giving up. This game, everything else is in the middle. That's where your ceiling and your floor are determined by how you do in these weird-ass games that don't really make sense. You don't really want to go play it. It's at home, and so you should win, and it's hard to get motivated to play bad teams. And I'm glad that Arkansas got this going into this Oklahoma game. I now feel better about the Oklahoma game than I would have had Arkansas won by 23 today. In a weird way, I'm disappointed with the performance, but I'm accepting it. That's all I have to say.
I appreciate the baseball analogy. It plays, it worked. And I think I agree with you about what you just said about Oklahoma there. Back to Lanky's chat earlier. Am I crazy about Arkansas playing another team in their building after they get popped on a buzzer beater? No, not really. It's weird that continues to happen. Why that continues to happen, I don't know. But yeah, I think getting pushed by a team at the bottom of the standings the way Arkansas did should only be another, feather in the cap of, hey, let's just go on the road and no funny business type of performance. Hopefully that's what we see from the Razorbacks, but obviously we will be talking a lot about that and breaking it all down. And we will be doing the Pod the Palace post-game show. The next time you see this one, it's going to be from Norman. And I think we're going to be right there in the arena unless we find somewhere cool to do it in the aftermath. So certainly be on the lookout for that. I miss doing the in-person one, so it'll be a lot of fun. We do have one final super chat from Arkansas as we wrap up. He's honestly, it's been a tough day. This is just a thanks for the distraction. Hope to see you on Tuesday. Well, I hope your day gets better, my man, and appreciate you for being able to tune in and get lost in the sauce a little bit with this basketball team. I know that Arkansas is big on the the analytics and the numbers, and he's low key a pretty solid ball knower there. So I definitely hope that we're able to see you on Tuesday, and keep us posted if you're able to make it there. But that'll do it for us today, folks. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us as always. If you're not subscribed to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel, do that before you get out of here, and find us wherever you find your podcast, Apple, Spotify, anywhere that you listen. For producer John, intern Gigi, intern Cameron, who hung out with an LSU fan all day at the game today, and Andrew Ellis, I'm Curtis Wilkerson. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you all next time. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.